today, we can bring all that massive amount of information into simple ways of visualizing the ultimate outcome for our customers.
All the products themselves tie well together. So it's really transformed us tremendously up to our business level decision makers that have information at their fingertips in real time.
We at Sandvik Coromant are really excited how Dynamics 365 brings all the systems together. With this solution, we're able to reinvent the art of manufacturing.
Advanced analytics help us avoid costly downtime and delays. With early notice, our team can proactively have parts at the right place and time, reducing inventory costs and maximizing availability.
Good morning. Please welcome General Manager, Microsoft, Alyssa Taylor.
Good morning, and welcome to Microsoft Business Forward. My name is Alyssa Taylor, and I run our Business Applications and Industry division here at Microsoft. And I'm so very excited that you guys have chosen to join us here today at this historic location. For those of you that don't know, this is the first Cadillac dealership, and it has now been transformed into this amazing event space. And really that's fitting because today's event is all about transformation. We are at an incredible period of time where full industries and organizations are transforming at such a rapid pace in an unprecedented way that we've never seen in history before. And so what we want to do is have the conversation and the forum to discuss that transformation. And we'll do that by bringing together Microsoft leaders. We're bringing in visionaries as well as our customers and analysts to talk about how we are driving that transformation. And at the center of the digital revolution is really our mutual customers. Customers are demanding new experiences, new levels of service, new products. And so what we want to do is have different sessions to talk about how we can meet those customer demands and actually use technology to do that. So let's talk about the lineup for today to give you an idea of who you will be seeing. We're going to start the day off with Judson Althoff. He is our Executive Vice President of our worldwide commercial business. And Judson's really going to talk about the Microsoft vision and strategy. And then he will bring in a few of our customers who have gone through their evolution, the technology that they've used to power that evolution, and you'll get to see some real life stories about those journeys. So we're excited about that session. James Phillips will follow Judson, and James is really going to drive a conversation about Microsoft's vision for business applications. We have fundamentally reimagined business applications, and so he'll take you through our journey of how we are thinking about that portfolio of technology. And then we'll spend a lot of time highlighting some new things that are coming into market around mixed reality, artificial intelligence, so hopefully get some inspiration flowing for how we can think about technology to modernize line of business functions. In the afternoon, we have Nigel Fenwick joining us. So he is from Forrester. He is one of our leading industry analysts. And he'll bring in a broader worldview of what he's hearing across customers across the globe and talk about some of the industry trends, as well as some of the challenges and the opportunities that he hears from a large collective of individuals. And then we'll wrap the day with a very special guest. We have Dr. Oz joining us. And so Dr. Oz is both an innovator and a disruptor in the healthcare industry. And he'll talk about not only technology in terms of how he's used it in his career and in his profession, but he'll also talk about how things like artificial intelligence and predictive modeling and analytics can actually help us live a more productive and healthy life. So that should be a really engaging and exciting session. So I hope you find today both informative as well as inspirational. And again, we're very pleased that you've chosen to join us. So with that, let's get started and join me in welcoming Judson Althoff to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Thanks for being here with us today. We're really excited to be able to spend the day talking to you about digital transformation and how it's impacting customers around the world across industries. My talk with you this morning is really to set the stage about what we're seeing in the industry, what this notion of becoming digital is really all about. Because I think if you kind of hardened off about 100 people from the room and asked them individually, what does digital transformation mean? You'd probably get about 100 different answers. For us, the definition is quite simple. It's about a wave of business innovation that's being married with cloud technologies, from IoT to mixed reality to artificial intelligence, reasoning over massive amounts of data to allow companies to run better and faster and more effectively than ever before. I want to set the stage this morning by talking about some of the underlying technologies where Microsoft is investing in key areas of research and development, as well as how some of our customers are actually taking the technology and putting it to work as best practice and telling some of their stories about digital success. My aim here is to inspire you with what some of your peers are doing in industry, and talk more about how we can engage together on the journey that is really required to drive businesses forward at new levels of impact never achieved before. So I want to get started. And don't fret, you are in fact at a business event. This is probably the most technically oriented slide I will cover this morning, but I do want to at least set the stage with what we're seeing out there and why we're investing in the technology categories we're investing in. We are really seeing this paradigm shift of the intelligent edge and the intelligent cloud. And it's an exciting time for us to be in the industry. Our industry goes through high-paced growth in a pretty pervasive capacity, but we see these sprints happening throughout various generations of technology. And we believe we're on the forefront of one of those sprints. This intelligent edge, intelligent cloud paradigm that I'll unpack for you in just a moment is really fueling how companies are thinking about becoming digital. So let's start with the intelligent edge. So the intelligent edge is far more than just this notion of carrying around multiple devices in your pocket and form factors of compute, but rather this notion of every experience we have in life, whether it be a social experience, going to a concert, enjoying conversations with your friends around the world, to your commute on the way to work and how you go about achieving your job. Every experience we have today is surrounded by ubiquitous compute and limitless data. The intelligent edge is about framing together this notion of multi-device and multi-sensing such that every experience you have can be used to fuel a more productive outcome. It's the notion of bringing together data off of sensors and sensor fabrics, reasoning over that data, pulling it together in a way in which you can conceive better outcomes in how you want to achieve your daily lives and daily output at work. From there, we go into making sure that those experiences are ubiquitous across platform. This has been a journey for Microsoft, in fact. For many, many years, we developed software first and best for Windows. And in fact, over the last 2 years, we've written more code for iOS and Android than any software company on the planet, because we believe that this notion of ubiquitous compute has to be a common experience across all platforms. We're also investing very heavily in this notion of bringing mixed reality to use cases around the world and in different industries, because we see it as the future for how artificial intelligence will augment human lives in just about every use case you can imagine, from healthcare to service and support. So we see the intelligent edge as fueling the way in which you will reason over your business, reason over your daily lives, and reason over a way in which you can actually engage with your customers more effectively, create better outcomes for your employees, and actually transform your own product portfolio. And I'll talk more about that through examples in my talk this morning. All of that data on the edge is fueling artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is alive and well in just about everything we do at Microsoft. In fact, I refer to this as drinking my own wine. My IT people like to talk about dog fooding. I don't know about you, I've never been a fan of dog food. I find it kind of sort of dry and crunchy. So I like to think of it as drinking my own wine. One of my responsibilities at the company is running our support organization. And not just our commercial support organization, even for our consumer products. So if little Johnny's Xbox stops working in the middle of the night, somebody in my organization gets a phone call. We have fronted that entire support organization with artificial agents. They're the front line for all of our customer support scenarios, from Xboxes to Azure. And in so doing, we are on track to save about $500 million over the next 3 years. We manage over 600,000 incidents every 3 days. So you can imagine the cost impact associated with being able to front off those customer scenarios with artificial intelligence. That's the obvious outcome. What's not so obvious is that at the same time, my customer satisfaction is actually going up because I'm providing better answers to customers in a more efficient and effective way. The third outcome is also a pretty big surprise in that my employee satisfaction is actually up. Because my support engineers don't have to ask questions like, hey, is your Xbox turned on? Is there a disk inside of it? Every interaction that my AI agents have with customers is transparent and readily available to my human agents that then pick up the phone and do warm transfer to try to solve customer problems. So we're using AI to run our business at Microsoft. And we do it on the support layer as well as how we drive our sales interactions. I have 8 call centers around the world that deal with customers across many, many languages in many, many countries. Every day when they show up to work, there's 100 phone calls they could make. Which are the first 3 they should make? And once they're on the phone, what should they say? What, in fact, are the right cross-sell, upsell scenarios to help customers get what they need and to drive value in a more effective capacity? So we use the intelligent edge. We use our ability to sense over every aspect of data that we have about our customers, whether it's known data or owned data, or third-party data, readily accessible market data, to inform how we empower our employees to deliver more value for our customers. So AI isn't just something we sell at Microsoft. It's actually how we run the business. This then fuels this notion of serverless computing. And you can say, okay, well, Judson, what is that? Look, this proposition over acquiring data from everything, from every sensor, from every mobile device, from every mixed reality experience, and reasoning over it is unquestionably the best way to make informed decisions about every action you take. It's unquestionable. But it's also a very expensive proposition from a compute standpoint. If you're spinning up VMs, reasoning over massive amounts of data in real time, the pervasiveness of that compute is incredibly expensive. So you've got to be able to instantly spin up and spin down server workloads to reason over that data, provide the right result, and then dismiss the workload so that you're only paying for the compute that you use. We've optimized the Azure platform to reason over this vast amount of data and provide that capability so that we can actually deliver per second billing on a unit of compute. So whether that's something that you sort of rationalize across your estate or you use as chargeback accounting in nimble business scenarios, we're building out a future platform so that you can harness every aspect of the intelligent edge and the intelligent cloud to fuel your business. So what's it all about? Frankly, it's all about this huge economic opportunity in front of all of us. This slide represents how we've seen our journey as a company at Microsoft, from the world of the original intent where Bill set out as a founder of Microsoft to put a PC on every desktop, to the realm of client-server computing, to internet architectures and e-commerce, and now this realm of digital. This graph doesn't just represent Microsoft's economic opportunity, it represents all of our economic opportunities. Because as you think about becoming digital as a company, there's questions you need to ask and answer. How can the data about my business become more valuable than the business itself? How can I take the intellectual property that I have that's unique to my company and stand it up as a service, build an ecosystem, create more economic opportunity? The opportunity in front of us from a digital standpoint is larger than our industry has ever seen. I want to give you an example of that. We've been doing some work with Maersk over the last couple of years now. And Maersk has been a very good customer of ours. They use Office 365 and our modern workplace technologies for some time now. But Maersk as a business was quite challenged. If you think about it, even though they are the largest shipping company on the planet, they move more containers around the globe than any other company, the growth opportunity, the margins, the expense, the cost of goods, the fuel costs really sort of limit their potential for growth, compresses their opportunity for the future. However, by asking those same questions that I just framed for you, how can the data about their business become more valuable than the business itself? How can we take their intellectual property and turn it into a software company, run their assets on the cloud? How can that fuel economic growth? Well, for them, it's been a fascinating journey because we've done just that. We're rationalizing their data estate, which is a term that I will spend a lot of time on this morning throughout the various examples and the customer that'll join me on stage. Effectively, it's pulling together every data asset they have, whether it's on-premises relational data or unstructured data in the cloud, and building a true estate that you can reason over. From there, then building a knowledge estate and being able to reason over that data to provide predictive outcomes. And then softwareizing their business, taking their IP and putting it on the cloud. By so doing, we're able to drive end-to-end logistics scenarios like never before. We've basically taken all of the software assets they have and have created an ecosystem running on Azure. What that allows us to do is then expose APIs about shipping and logistics to third-party carriers, to last-mile delivery companies on the ground, to smart cities and smart ports. And it enables Maersk to monetize their IP like never before. In addition to that, we've actually even augmented the business model. We go to market with Maersk. If you would have told me 2 years ago, hey, listen, Maersk is going to be a great partner for Microsoft, I probably would have fallen out of my chair. But the reality of the situation is we're jointly selling to port cities, to crane manufacturers, to last mile carriers, and providing them with data that they've never had access to before. What if a port knew when the ship was coming in and knew what assets needed to be delivered and could ready the crew on the ground and ready all of the equipment necessary? What if predictive maintenance needed to be done to that equipment before the ship arrived? How could you optimize the end-to-end logistics? This is what we're doing today with Maersk, and it's greatly improving their market value and their vision for the future. So this economic opportunity that I speak of is one that I challenge each of you to think of. How does your company harness this? How does the data about your business become more valuable than the business itself? How do you become a software company? How do you think about leveraging the cloud and the digital revolution to transform your market opportunity? So I want to talk a little bit about the how and the journey around all of this, because I think a lot of times when I talk to customers about becoming digital, there's this sort of pent-up excitement and almost pressure to overnight right the ship or sort of transform the business. And I want to be super clear in setting expectations. A lot of these things don't happen overnight. There is a prescriptive formula for how they happen. And whilst no two digital transformations are alike, in fact, this formula and flow is somewhat consistent. The first thing that has to happen in every one of these scenarios is you have to empower your employees. You have to lay a foundation of culture, because culture, in fact, will drive forward the application of all technologies and new business models. It's actually a page out of our own playbook at Microsoft. If any of you have read Satya Nadella's book, Hit Refresh, you'll understand that a good portion of how we're rethinking our company is about laying the foundation for culture and empowering our employees to be more successful. And there are technology assets. This chart basically represents the 4 solution areas where Microsoft innovates across modern workplace technologies, business applications technologies, core apps and infrastructure, modern application development, and data and artificial intelligence. And we take those as the ingredients for digital transformation, for that employee empowerment, for rethinking customer engagement scenarios, for optimizing your operations, and actually then transforming your products. And there's no sort of accidental assembly of the things on this chart. This is actually what we're seeing from our customers, and it's what's reshaping and focusing how we innovate and how we invest in core research and development. There's also intentionality in how we're combining these efforts. For example, if you think about data and artificial intelligence, AI gets a ton of excitement today. In fact, there are very few technology articles, magazines, stories, online threads, blogs that are void of AI. AI is everywhere. And the energy tends to go right to the sizzle, the voice agent, the cool graphical output, the mixed reality hologram. That's where the energy and the excitement goes. But I'm telling you up front, the hard work that needs to be done is rationalizing the data. Trust me when I say, if you do not get your data estate in order, and all you do is focus on the fancy algorithm and the graphical output, all you will do is make mistakes with greater confidence than ever before. There's a journey here that has to be followed in order to get this thing right. And I want to talk about a customer that we've worked with here locally that's been on that journey for the last couple of years in Nalco Water. Just to kind of tease out a little bit of what it takes to actually be bold enough to take the right steps to think forward to a new economic value system. So my first interactions with Nalco date back a couple of years ago, and it was frankly when we received a RFP for CRM technologies. You might say, what the heck does that have to do with becoming digital? And you're exactly right, very little. But nevertheless, in the business that we're in, when we get an RFP, you got to respond and you got to do the homework behind it. And in fact, finally, when I actually got on the phone with Christoph Beck, who's the president of Nalco Water, I said, Christoph, like, hey, listen, we're responding to your CRM RFP, and we've got a great product portfolio in Dynamics 365, but what are you really trying to get done? Because my guess is the board right now is not asking you about a new CRM system. It was just like this great pause, because there had been so much energy around, we have to implement this technology asset, we've got to get CRM in, and you just sort of pause and say, why? Why? What outcome are you trying to drive? What unfolded from there was a fantastic story. Christoph was like, well, listen, here's what I'm trying to do. I sell really high-tech water treatment equipment. I sell it, they drop it off. When it breaks, we get a phone call, we send service people, but I sell gear. I want to change all of that. I want to sell clean water as a service. I said, okay, Christoph, now we're getting somewhere. So what ensued from there was implementing the intelligent edge at Nalco, putting sensors and sensor fabrics over every product they have, hardening it with security assets so that it's unhackable, and then using the sensor fabric to feed an array of data, a data estate. And then once we had a data estate in place, being able to reason over it and having it fuel their Dynamics 365 field service applications, fuel their sales automation applications, such that when their salespeople and service people show up at a customer, it's about clean water as a service. They're not billing their customers for gear anymore. They're billing their customers for millions of gallons of water saved each year. And they've helped the Ford Motor Company, by example, save enough water for 3 million humans to consume on a per annum basis. So those are the kinds of digital outcomes that you can fuel when you put in place the right journey to get there. But please trust me when I say there's a science to this. There's a methodical journey that must be followed. There aren't a lot of shortcuts. You have to invest in the hard work to become digital. So excited about the work we're doing with customers, and I could spend all morning with you talking about various examples, but what I want to do now is not just tell you about them, I actually want to show you and bring to the stage a good friend and a technology and product that you all probably used this morning at some point in time on your way here. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Tony Black, who's the president of Otis Service and the Otis Elevator Company.
It's nice to be here. Thanks.
So Tony, again, as I said in your intro, everybody probably used your product on the way in today, but tell us a little bit about Otis and the company.
Sure. Yeah, I think everyone has ridden our products, our elevators and escalators. In fact, we started the industry 164 years ago, and we really are an innovation company. We have a lot of firsts. Of course, the first elevator and escalator, but we were also the first to develop remote elevator monitoring. And something that a lot of people don't know is we're actually the first to develop elevator service in the industry. Elijah Otis invented the elevator, but his son Charles actually hand-wrote the first elevator service contract and signed his name to it, with his commitment to the customer. So, a lot of history there. But if we fast forward to today, we've turned this company into a company with 31,000 technicians. They work 60 million hours per year, so a lot of work. And what they're doing is they're maintaining 2 million elevators and escalators around the world. We estimate that we move about 2 billion people every day, or basically the world's population every 3 days.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Very impressive. So how does a 164-year-old elevator company become digital?
Well, for us, the holy grail is delivering a more seamless customer experience and giving and empowering our service teams the tools to do what they do best. And we're using 3 technologies, 3 objectives here: enhance field productivity, predict when maintenance will be needed, and our customers are telling us they want this. They want a more proactive, a more predictive approach to the way we work, and then ultimately, customer stickiness.
Awesome. So let's show everybody the system you built here.
Sure. So what I'm going to do is I want to show you a couple of predictive maintenance systems. One's going to be our elevator dashboard, and then is the parts app. So if we can, we'll just go over to the demo
Sounds
here.
Great.
So what we're looking at here, this is our elevator dashboard or a health map. It's showing you a subset of the connected elevators in North America. It's just a subset, and you can see on the screen here, there's some green, there's some yellow, and there's some red. Now,
so this is like a health score. So red in an elevator is probably not good, I can imagine.
we strive we don't want 100%. Basically what we're doing, if you remember, we started elevator monitoring, but now we've added the predictive part to it and the data. So the elevator control units send us alerts like the door is open too long, and then that alert or data is fed into the SQL Server warehouse on Azure, and then we run some Azure machine learning and ultimately get that health score. And we can filter down, like I just did, to the units that we predict will have a problem in the future.
So not all red then is necessarily bad. There's a range of red, like, hey, gosh, somebody might get hurt, all the way through to, man, somebody just sort of put their hand in the door and kept the door open more than they should have.
Right. I mean, we really try to to understand if it's a real problem, a real mechanical or electrical problem, or if it's something that's is just a temporary issue.
Got it. Cool. So can we dive into one of these?
Sure. This is the what I'm going to do is drill into the Van Artsel building in New York.
Cool.
And there's some interesting things. This is the unit level information. So one thing that's I don't think you realize this is a very high usage elevator. This elevator has run, you can see, 3,500 times in one day. Right. So quite a bit of running, and then you can see the doors. The doors actually functioned over 4,300 times in the day on this one elevator.
Wow.
But what's really important here is what triggered the red is 58 alarms. And if you look through all this alarm data, it's mostly door-related problems.
Yeah, so can you break that down a little bit? Like, should we be concerned about 58 alarms, or how do you rationalize over this?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's not a surprise that it's door-related, because doors represent the highest contributor of service calls, or what we call callbacks. But what we haven't been able to do in the past is understand if it's as we said, kind of a temporary, normal situation versus a real problem.
Right on. So rationalizing and reasoning over all of this data, over all of your elevators, how do you use machine learning and AI to be productive over all of that?
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the machine learning model. And so just, I mentioned that we're focusing on doors here, but what we're doing, the logic, we're looking at the building type. So is it an office building, a residential building, a dormitory? And then we understand the patterns of usage in those buildings.
Got it.
And so if the model, when we have the event and it compares it against the model, if it's a normal pattern, then it's not a problem. If it's not normal, then it's going to flag it as a yellow or red. And just to give you some examples, so all of us, we go into office buildings every day. What happens in the morning? Well, everybody's kind of rushing in.
Right.
Some of you may have tried to hold the doors open. I
have
hope not, but I
think
maybe.
Once or twice.
So but that's temporary, and that happens, and after the rush hour, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Lunch hour, the same thing happens.
Right.
Okay. Residential building or dormitory, there's certain times a year where people are moving in, weekends, couches, all kinds of things going in the elevator. But again, it's temporary, and it's not going to flag that it's a real systemic issue.
Right on. Cool. So this allows you to reason over normal anomalies and then predictively say, well, okay, we're noticing a systemic problem here. We want to predictively or proactively rather dispatch a service agent maybe during off hours so that you're delivering a better customer experience.
Exactly. And before this, basically every elevator was treated equal. So there's just a lot of waste in this. We're visiting a green unit when we should be visiting a yellow or red unit.
Yeah. So you got 2 million elevators in service. Can you comment on the impact from a business standpoint that the technology has had?
Oh, it's enormous. So without this, it's not scalable. It's a case-by-case situation, and you see the filtering, how it really takes down that big picture to just allow us to really focus with confidence, with high confidence, that we're gonna schedule only the units that need the maintenance. And again, customers want this; they like it. It allows us to schedule maintenance where it's more convenient for the customer. And another big benefit is, our mechanics, they used to go and they didn't, they just kind of show up and they don't know what they're going to run into. Now they're going with information about what the probable problem is.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that and drill into the employee experience. I know that you've used the data platform and the AI to then also build some applications that your service people can use to be more effective. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, sure. We'll switch gears, and I do want to show you how the technology is really changing the life of our service technicians. So our transformation is about really putting the right information into the hands of our mechanics and our teams to deliver more informed, real-time service. And this parts app that I'm going to show you is a good example of that. Okay. But I'm pretty passionate about this example.
Okay.
I've worked at UTC and Otis for 32 years,
wow.
And honestly, this is like a dream come true.
Cool.
So I need to explain to you the before story,
right.
And then you get a sense of why it's the dream come true. So it starts with an elevator shutdown.
Yeah.
And of course, if the customer is not happy,
right.
If it's a single elevator, the customer is really not happy.
Right.
Okay. All right. So the elevator shut down, and the mechanic goes, and he needs a part.
Right.
He needs a spare part.
Yeah.
Before the app, he would maybe look at his personal notes. Then he'd call the office. A lot of times he'd have to actually get in his car, drive to the office, and in the office, and we have 1,000 of these offices around the world, there's something called a spare parts leaflet. If you visualize the old auto parts store paper horizontal leaflets, that's what's there, and he would try to go through that and try to find the part number. Now maybe it's not updated. And all this time, the customer...
I love how you use the word leaflet, by the way. That sounds a little bit more like a hymnal than a leaflet.
It's a big leaflet. It's
okay.
a big leaflet. But, again, what's really happening here, we have two problems. Our mechanic is frustrated.
Yeah.
and our customer is
not happy.
Not happy at
Yeah,
all.
right.
Is not happy at all.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so fast forward then, what the sort of the solution you've implemented today, how does that change the whole game for you?
Yeah, let me. So I have it here. I'm gonna take you through a quick demo here. So what I'm gonna do now is, so in this case, there's a door motor that he needs a door motor. So he's gonna search for it, and now he's pulling up the door motor. Okay, and so here it is. This is happening like 1,000 times faster than,
Going through a
the
paper
old way.
catalog.
Yes.
Yeah, right on.
And there it is. So there's the door motor, and again, we have a technician here, so it's a nice picture, and he can visualize, he can see it. It's the right part. This is what he needs. And the other nice benefit here is we've put in here. This is a PDF file, and it actually has the technical details of the part, how to install it. And
Right.
he's good to go. I mean, it was either paper before or not there before at all.
Right.
And this is unbelievable. This is just really significant. It's enhancing our productivity, and taking away that aggravation and frustration, empowering our people. And ultimately, it's giving better customer care and allowing them to do what they really want to do.
And my guess is it also actually helps you attract new people to come to the company. Like if you worked on elevators for 20 years, you probably know this part like the back of your hand. You probably know the exact SKU and where to find it and all of that. But if you're new to the company, trying to get that institutional knowledge,
Right.
and again, the value of reasoning over your data estate and being able to predictively put the right part in the hands of the service tech at the right time, huge.
It's huge, and I got to tell you, I mean, this is an enormous challenge for us. We have elevators that we maintain today that are over 100 years old. So if you imagine, and this is all over the world. So we have that complexity of that 100-year-old elevator to a modern elevator, and we have to take care of all those parts. And we tell our customers, as long as you have Otis service, we're going to get you the part.
That's really cool.
Yeah, this is really
I'm not sure
it's a big
many
deal.
other people can say that they actually support 100-year-old technology and brand new technology all in the same service call. So that's pretty impressive. So what I love about the story is that it aligns very much to this journey that I've been describing all morning, this notion of, hey, let's first get the data in order, let's reason over it with machine learning and artificial intelligence, then let's actually start using the technology to better empower your employees and become more effective. What's next in your journey, Tony?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things happening. Actually, this morning, I think UTC, our parent company, announced that we're leveraging Dynamics 365 and Azure to support customer interactions faster, better, and with more personalized service. So we're now leveraging this technology across all of the UTC companies. We have Pratt & Whitney, Climate Controls and Security has companies like Carrier and Chubb and Kid A in there. And then UTC Aerospace Systems. So this is great. It's because we'll be able to actually share our implementation with the Microsoft tools, share best practices across our sister companies.
And we're really excited about this announcement because not only does it continue on in the next step of the digital journey that we've been working on together for some time, but it really leverages our portfolio of intellectual property to help make your business better. Everything from the sensors and the security fabric on the sensors to the Azure Active Directory that secures all your employee access to the data, because obviously the last thing you want is anybody to be able to hack an elevator in this day and age.
Right.
So you've used all of those assets to harden the environment. You're using all of the data and AI capabilities to then fuel the Dynamics 365 outcomes for field service, which is a fantastic partnership for us to be.
We're excited about it. I mean, it's really, we're working differently today. When we would develop products before, we would take a long time. We'd wait till the product was developed. We'd push it out and pilot it and then get feedback. I mean, the tools are allowing us to develop these apps really quickly, and get customer input up front. Really be agile. It's really
That's awesome.
It's exciting.
Well, listen, we're excited about it, and we couldn't be more thankful that you're betting your business and the lives of the 31,000 service professionals you have on Dynamics 365 and Microsoft. So
great.
Thanks a lot, Tony.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
So the story is very consistent with much of what I shared with you this morning in my opening. This journey that we see customers on across industry, whether you build elevators, whether you're in shipping and transportation, or whether you're trying to change the world and deliver clean water as a service. From healthcare to financial services, from precision ag to core financials, we see huge opportunity around digital transformation. It really does follow this common formula of asking yourself, how can you better leverage your data? How can the data about your business be more valuable than the business itself? How can you think forward about harnessing the opportunity in digital to the extent of the applicability of becoming a software company? What does that mean for you? What does the cloud mean for you in terms of better digital outcomes for your employees, for your customers, for the optimization of your operations, and for the transformation of your products? This is, in fact, a journey. And as I stated earlier, no two of these are perfectly identical. So we have a process by which we really enjoy engaging with customers in this regard, from envisioning and thinking through what does digital mean for you? What are the outcomes that can transform your business? To then actually assessing and taking a look at the maturity of your existing estate. So we have some tooling that we call a digital maturity model that can go in and assess your technical estate and look at where it is today versus where it needs to be to bring some of these outcomes to life. And then numerous ways in which we can engage with you, with our services organization and our partner ecosystem to drive forward on this digital journey with you. So we're really excited about the opportunity and want to engage more directly with you in your pursuits. It's core to who we are as a company. Our mission at Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. It's not about our achievements, frankly, it's about yours. We're at our best when we marry up our portfolio of intellectual property with your business outcomes, and that's what we want to do with all of you. So the next stage of our program this morning is we're going to talk more about the core assets in Dynamics 365. I talked a lot about laying the foundation with data and AI and how it can fuel business outcomes. And a big part of our strategy at Microsoft is to have AI-driven applications that are modular and nimble and help you get to the right outcomes faster without having to do forklift upgrades on your CRM system or your ERP system. Just get to better faster. Because the last I checked, not many people wake up each morning and say, hey, I got a big idea, I want to replace General Ledger. That's a little bit like volunteering for a root canal. So we want to show you how you can take advantage of all of the things I talked about this morning with great modularity and nimble assets in Dynamics 365. And to do that, we have none other than our Corporate Vice President of Dynamics 365 Development, James Phillips. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning. So I lived in Chicago for 2 years, I think, maybe 15 years ago. And did a stint in California subsequent to that. I come back, I forgot how cold it can get here. And you guys are probably, this is not cold. But it's great to be here. And I sat backstage and I watched Judson go through his presentation. We're going to continue talking about digital transformation, talking about the changes that are occurring across just about every industry. Right? Probably not just about every industry is undergoing tectonic change right now as a result of digital technologies. And then we're going to look deeply at Dynamics 365. We'll spend a good chunk of the presentation here actually looking at the product, going through demos, and talking about what we have to offer to meet you on your digital transformation journey. But just to step back for a second and throw another example into the mix, joining all the good stories and anecdotes that Judson had. You think about the transformation that we're seeing across every single industry. One of the great things about being at Microsoft is the opportunity to do this kind of thing. I've got a lot of one-on-one meetings today. If you've ever been to our executive briefing center on the Microsoft campus, we probably have a dozen companies every single day of the week from somewhere on planet Earth visiting us. And so we get to hear the stories across all of these industries. What are you struggling with? What are the challenges? And seeing how people are grappling with it. And so in some ways, we've taken a lot of that learning and bottled it up inside of Dynamics 365. But let me pick on one example. So the automobile industry. This is one that, and I love cars, and so it's bittersweet to me in some ways. You think about that industry, century old, largely about manufacturing, supply chain excellence. You distribute manufactured goods through an intermediary channel of dealers. End consumers buy cars, they use them for their useful life. And that's sort of the industrial structure of that industry, and it's persisted for a very, very long time and kind of settled down. But I got to this meeting today by pulling out my phone and asking for a car to come pick me up. I watched it come on the map, pick me up, drop me off. It won't be long until that car won't have a driver. After dropping me off, it's going to go hover somewhere that it predicted is the right place to be based on learned ridership patterns. And the need for me to own a car at that point will start to fade away. It's a heck of a lot more convenient if I can just get where I need to go immediately, not have to worry about parking, not have to worry about insurance. And that industry is undergoing fundamental change as a result of that. Every auto manufacturer that I talk to, every auto dealer that I talk to, and we talk to a lot of very large auto retailers, are struggling with, what does this mean? What does this mean to my business? And that same theme is happening across every single industry. Now, if you think about that, the industry doesn't wake up overnight and change. And in fact, the companies don't wake up overnight and change. It's the business processes on the ground that are changing. The way you have a relationship with your customer, the product itself, right? In the case that I just articulated, the product is no longer bent metal running through a supply chain. It's a service that's delivered to the end customer. The relationship as a manufacturer, if I transform from delivering goods to delivering services, is now direct to the consumer of the services versus intermediated through a distribution channel. The operational systems, certainly I'm going to still do supply chain management, manufacturing, automation, but now I need systems that are intelligent, that learn where cars should go, that can route appropriately to get to the riders. I mean, it's all of these systems are changing on the ground that bubbles up to change the company, that bubbles up to change the industry. Now, we talk about digital transformation, as Judson said. You ask someone, what does it mean? You'll get 50,000 different answers. But at its core, we call it digital transformation, not industry transformation or business transformation, largely to emphasize that it is technology. It's digital technology that is making this industrial transformation possible. It was the phone, it was the software, it's the AI, it's the data, right? And at the core, software and data are what make possible these changing business processes. And so Dynamics 365 is our business application offering that allows you, our customers, to go on your digital transformation journey. It's our set of packaged solutions across marketing, sales, service, operations, finance, talent, that modernize and transform these processes to allow you to go on your journey. And so we're going to talk today about sort of what makes Dynamics 365 special, what makes it different, why it's not the same old business applications. And there are 4 characteristics that we'll sort of hit on in a stepwise manner. They're modern, unified, intelligent, and adaptable. And so let's click through each one of those and talk about what we mean when we say those words. And so from a modern perspective, to sort of get where we are, let's talk about where we've been and how we got here. So if you look at the state of our industry today, and of course we're digitally transforming. The way we don't ship software anymore, we run services. I mean, we are ourselves going through this massive transformation as a company, and our industry is transforming. You think about how it's been, and you've got these 2 mega suite categories that have sort of coalesced over time. CRM, ERP, big suites of business applications, customer engagement, operate the business, front office, back office. Disconnected in many ways. And I've been a CEO multiple times. I know we've got senior leaders in the room. I never, ever think about my business in disconnected terms. If I'm going to spend money to run a marketing campaign, I want to collect cash eventually if I made a sale. If I'm out selling capital equipment to a partner that trusts me, I want to understand my inventory posture so I can promise delivery. You know, and having this sort of full spectrum visibility into your business is what Dynamics 365 provides for. So we've taken our CRM and ERP assets and we've brought them together. We've unified them into a cross-company or a cross-business process spectrum view that allows you to run your company in a holistic manner. But as Judson said, we don't force you to rip and replace or forklift upgrade the CRM or the ERP systems that you may already have. So we've disaggregated Dynamics 365 into a collection of individually adoptable, high-value business process systems where you can deal with field service, or you can change the way that you market and sell, or you can change the way that you manufacture. And so trying to give you flexibility to meet you where you are on your journey with the systems you have is sort of part and parcel of what makes Dynamics 365 what it is. Now, I talked about unification in that context. You know, while you can start with field service, you can add sales, you can add a finance module, you can add all of these pieces to eventually sort of build out that spectrum. So they all work together, but you don't have to take it all at once. And at the end of the day, it's data that makes it possible. So beneath Dynamics 365 is a sort of a common data substrate that brings all of the data from all of those systems together and relates all of that data. And this is how we allow you to deploy one piece, later deploy another piece, and then see that when you ran a marketing campaign, it ended up in this cache that eventually came into your company, connecting the dots, if you will, across the process landscape based on this interconnectedness of data. But it's not just Dynamics 365. Office 365 data is also in and related to your structured business process data. So your unstructured communication, collaboration, creativity, processes also relate into the structured business process data. You can understand how many meetings did you have with this particular opportunity that you're managing in the sales module, right? And so pulling this data together, providing signal, we'll get back to that in a minute, that allows you to create intelligent systems and intelligent applications. But it doesn't stop with your data. So LinkedIn, part of Microsoft, we also pull that data into this connected underlying data substrate. So now you're bringing signal not from your proprietary systems, but from the social network, understanding that this open opportunity is actually someone that knows someone that you know, right? And so bringing that signal in and providing more value, and this is an open platform. So Adobe, for example, who will come join me in a minute, they're also building on the same substrate. And so bringing in all of our partners, all of our systems, allowing this data to collect in order to create intelligence ultimately, and then value as delivered through digitally transformed business processes, which brings us to intelligent. So data in a vacuum is data in a vacuum. You know, you can have lots of data, but if you don't do something with it, if you don't get value out of it, it's like a tree falling in the forest. If no one's there to hear it, did it make a sound? And so we have, for decades, spent billions of dollars to create what we believe is the world's most advanced machine learning, artificial intelligence, cognitive computing capabilities that we've perfected across our own first-party applications. Bing, Xbox, Xbox Live, Office, Dynamics, all benefit from this rich set of investments. But really, if you kind of go back down to it, or get beneath the technology, the machine learning, cognitive technology, it's the data that makes it unique. So the power of intelligence, the power of AI, machine learning, meets the world's most complete data estate, which is the fuel, ultimately, for intelligence and for learning. And then finally, adaptable. So we use business applications because it's the fastest path to digital transformation. If you can find an app that works, you don't have to write software, you should use it, right? That is the way to move quickly. However, no application is ever just what you need it to be. It's never exactly a fit for your business processes. And the minute it is, the next minute it's not, right? Because something changes in your environment, you've got to adapt your applications, which embody your business processes ultimately. And so Dynamics 365, we believe, has the most complete, unified, the most depth from a platform perspective to allow you to make our applications what you need them to be for you. And that starts with our partner ecosystem. So we have thousands of partners delivering thousands of applications atop the Microsoft Cloud infrastructure alongside Dynamics, alongside Office, making specific to your industry, for example, a field service solution. You just talked about Otis elevators. And to get a solution that is specific to that industry that builds atop the more horizontal capabilities and Dynamics is possible through our partners, but that's not always enough. Sometimes you need a specific solution that's just for you. And in the past, getting sort of custom-built software that's very specific to your unique business process where there's not an app for that has been expensive, risky, and many people avoid it altogether. And with Dynamics 365, we have a business application platform that consists of Power BI, Power Apps, Microsoft Flow on the same data substrate that allows you to add even more value, to tune our applications or to create new applications atop that same data and alongside those packaged business processes. And so that's sort of the flyby on the ingredients or the essence, if you will, of Dynamics 365. Modern, unified, intelligent, and adaptable. So we're going to switch gears now, and we're going to look at some specific scenarios. We're going to now start to get to the good stuff, which is showing some software and showing how it works in the context of some real use cases. And the first one we're going to look at is connected sales and marketing. So the ability to move from, so there's a guy I used to work with who used to call CRM a system of oppression. Not a system of record, a system of oppression. And you talk to a salesperson, and that's the way they look at it. I've had CRM systems in the past, and I've filled out did I work this lead, did I work this opportunity, and it wasn't doing me any good, frankly. It was doing someone above me good because they could spy on my pipeline and figure out whether or not I'm doing what I need to do. And these systems historically really have been record keeping, kind of keeping track of what happened. Modern business applications, with Dynamics 365 as a representative, are different. They come alongside you. They help you. They're a tool for you versus a burden for the user. They tell you what's the next best thing to do. You're trying to sell. Here's where you should focus your time, attention, and energy. Here's information that can help you further that opportunity. And so moving from systems of oppression to systems of empowerment in many ways, having someone alongside you in the form of a business application that allows you to get done what you need to do. And that's very different, very different. In fact, I would argue for the first time ever in the decades-long history of business applications, we're seeing a fundamental change. Whether it was mainframe, mini-computer, client-server, or SaaS, last-generation SaaS, it's always been the same old, same old. Forms over data, record-keeping, process orchestration. We are, for the first time, fundamentally changing the nature of business applications, moving them from record-keeping systems, lightweight, unintelligent process automation, to intelligent, empowering, proactive systems. And so I'm going to have Dave Welch come out and join me. Dave, from Adobe.
Hey, James.
Hey.
All right.
And so, going back to the sales and marketing connected.
Yep.
So, you know, Dave spends a lot of time with marketeers, talking about marketing processes and how customers are reimagining that journey. Tell us about what you've discovered out there and what you see every day.
Well, for us, it's big time about experiences. So all of our customers, like yours, are on digital transformation journeys. And the marketers in our world are all about creating wonderful experiences for their customers. And so what we've found, or what our customers are finding, is that people don't really want to buy a product anymore. They want to buy an experience, right? And whether that experience is you're opening up your app and ordering your morning latte, or connecting with your bank or your financial services institution 24/7, 365, across any channel that you want, and oftentimes many different channels for the same transaction. Or, you know, you talked about connected cars, right? So I want a car, I want my vehicle to know more than just my favorite radio stations and my seat location. I want it to know my preferences, my likes, my brand loyalty, so as I'm traveling around, it's highlighting things that are of interest to me. So for us and our customers, they're all trying to drive very personalized experiences.
Got it. I saw that movie, Minority Report, where you okay, so I got it. So the marketing, individualized, personalized experiences. How do you connect that with selling?
Yeah, so it used to be, you know, not too long ago, that sales and marketers could kind of like sit in their own little silos, have their own little fiefdoms, and, you know, not have to interact with one another. I'll tell you today at our company, that's no longer the case. So at Adobe, our chief revenue officer, our chief marketing officer, our chief customer success officer, they're all super aligned on go-to-market. And so we're seeing that in many of our customers as well, as where we're getting in and talking to marketers, and they're bringing in other people, other stakeholders into the conversation. And so, you know, from a sales and marketing perspective, one of the cool things that we're doing with you guys is we're connecting our marketing engine. So Adobe's got a natural wheelhouse in marketing. You have a natural wheelhouse in sales and support. And so we're bringing those technologies and those solutions together through product integrations, so that customers don't have to spend time doing that integration between sales and marketing.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to show in a minute sort of the product integration, where you can get the best of both processes, experiences sort of converged in the experience. But I know that we're doing a ton of work on the data layer as well.
Yeah. Well, you've already talked about data, and a lot of data. You guys have a lot of data, and without data, as a marketer, without data, you're just kind of throwing darts at a board, and you don't really know what you're aiming for. So Adobe does a pretty good job at data. So we've got an analytics cloud that collects somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 trillion experience events on behalf of our customers. We send out billions of emails and campaign emails on an annualized basis, and monitor the impact of those emails, the opening, the closing, the bounce rates. We enable hundreds of millions of contracts to be digitally signed, electronically signed. All that's being integrated back in with Dynamics. And so when it comes to data, we've got a lot of data, you've got a lot of data. And our customers want to harness that data together. And so that's where problems become kind of super hard. Data at the kind of scale we're talking about, that becomes really a difficult challenge, difficult challenge for our customers to do that data stitching and pulling together. And so one of the cool things, James, that we're working on together with you guys is around your common data service and our experience data models at Adobe. And so experience data models, common data service, have a common data layer, common schemas together that we're enabling to be stitched together, so that when data is used, or Adobe data is able to be used inside of Dynamics, Dynamics data able to be used inside of Adobe. And so that is solving, like, between the integrations that we have, the product integrations that we have, and the data integrations that we have, I think we're solving some pretty super hard problems on behalf of our customers, so that they can just kind of worry about innovating in their own core businesses.
Love it. So why don't we bring Ryan out?
Okay.
And have him actually show this off.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Come on out, Ryan.
Thanks, James.
Yep.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Dave. Hi. So today, I'm going to be showing you how Adobe, Marketing Cloud, and Dynamics 365 really power digital transformation and allow you to engage with customers in a new way. In today's demo, I'm actually going to be playing two separate personas. Firstly, I'll be Justin from the MBA, who's been drafted to come up with a new solution within the organization. And secondly, I will be playing a Microsoft representative who receives that marketing qualified lead and drives it to closure. So let's jump into the demo. So I'm Justin at this particular moment, and I'm looking out in the landscape of business applications, and have landed on the Dynamics 365 website. So I'm beginning the transformation of discovery process. And all the while doing this, keep in mind that the Adobe Marketing Cloud is nurturing our process. So I want to dive in slightly deeper here and find out specific information on the website about Dynamics 365 for sales, and I might watch a video to gather more information. As we take that a step further, we actually drill into the specific solutions. For example, infused artificial intelligence and how we've embedded the Sales Navigator from LinkedIn within the Dynamics 365 process. So I have to go to a meeting now, and several hours later, I actually return to my desk, and I'm browsing a news site just to catch up on what's going on in the world. And what we see here on the right-hand side is a targeted ad specific to the actions that I were taking earlier on the website, which is for Dynamics 365. This triggers my memory of those actions I was taking, so I actually want to drill in further and find out more information. This brings me to a Contact Us, where I could, of course, fill out a form, I could request a chat, or I could even ask for a call. Now, to save time, I won't fill out the form, but imagine I actually fill out the form with my details and ask to be contacted. This is the particular moment that we're actually going to switch from the persona Justin and look at how that marketing qualified lead was sent to me, the Microsoft sales rep. So what I'm doing here now is jumping into Dynamics 365. And I've received a lead, a marketing qualified lead, and I'm given a business process, which you can see at the top here, that supports me to drive this to closure. And at this particular moment, we're in the qualify stage. So what I'm able to do is actually look here and see the journey that Justin just took on the website actions that we saw. And what's really important here is oftentimes you have this wealth of data within marketing that's never transferred into sales. Here, we're actually breaking down those silos and giving a consistent journey for them. So I can see that I registered for an in-depth demo, I browsed relationship sales, I went a little bit deeper, and actually our campaign even invited the customer for a 30-day trial of this particular product. So moving forward in the process, imagine we're a couple weeks later, and I'm a salesperson looking at the end of the quarter that's happening, and I'm interested in my quota. Am I going to meet my quota? Am I going to receive my bonus? Now, probably you guys see here in very large red numbers, I'm not. I'm not going to meet my quota. I'm over $500,000 behind. So what we would like to show you here is how we can take that stalled deal that we were working on with Justin and really drive it through to closure. So the next screen that I'd like to show is something we're probably all familiar. James actually talked about it. It's an overview of the opportunities within the application. So it's your sales pipeline. And yep, we have the probability, we have the estimated to close, we have all the kinds of information you classically have, but here's where the Microsoft graph really comes into play. Because what we're doing is based on all of the communications you had, be that in phone, be that by mail, be that by meeting, we're aggregating that data across all other running opportunities in the application, and we're able to tell you what the relationship health is. So for example, I've been sending an email to Justin and he may not have replied. That's probably not a good sign that I'm really going to be able to close this deal and drive the business. And that's the exact case, because we see here the MBA is in a fair state. It's not poor yet, but it's heading that way. So if we jump into the opportunity, again, we're supported by the business process at the top side. I am now in the develop stage of this particular opportunity, and I also have the relationship assistant. And this is something that you see throughout the application or on your mobile devices, which is giving you the best next action to take based on all the historical actions you've had. And as I mentioned a second ago, we actually sent an email to Justin. Of course, we were hoping for a response on that. Now, I don't have to go and look in my inbox or somewhere else to see if I received that response. The relationship assistant is telling me he has not replied to you. So of course, I could do a few things here. I could pick up the phone, I could send another email, but I'm not gaining traction on this particular deal. And here's where we want to use the power of our network to really reach out and see if we can gain traction within the MBA. And how are we going to do that? Is by using the Sales Navigator engine, which is embedded in Dynamics 365, and actually drive communication with Justin. Of course, if I was going to have a face-to-face meeting, we also provide potential icebreakers. For example, we have 5 shared connections, or we could see the recent activity Justin has been taking so we can have conversations when we would meet. But that wasn't the case for today. What we're actually going to do is say, I'd like to get introduced to him because he's still a second-degree connection to me. Remember, he browsed our website, but that didn't necessarily mean we were talking every single day. So what I'm able to do here is see a wealth of contacts that I have in common, and what stands out to me here is Stephen Kaplan. Now, Stephen and I both work for Microsoft. He's a second-degree connection to me, but via the Team Link capability, I see that he's a recommended person I can use to reach out to Justin and share material with him. So what I'm actually going to do is ask for an introduction via Stephen to Justin Gurney. So let's actually draft this particular mail at this case and say, look, I have a stalled deal at the MBA, and let's go here and say, hi, Stephen, have a stalled deal that need your help getting the following content in front of your connection, Justin Gurney. Now, what do I mean with this? Is we've actually prepared via Point Drive a solution here, which is a dossier of content that we would like to get in front of them. And the dossier includes all different sorts of content in the form of a presentation or videos, et cetera, et cetera. So quite easily here, I can actually get the link of the dossier, paste that into the meeting with Stephen, and I'll actually send. So I'm using Stephen, who knows Justin very well, to actually provide the content I'm trying to get in. And if you receive an email from someone you know, you're far more likely to open it than if you do not know them. So taking that a little bit forward in the process, we actually go to the insights around that dossier. So here I'm able to see that that PowerPoint that we shared about sales overview has actually been viewed 4 times, and I can actually track how long it's being viewed. So we've gained some traction within the deal that we were working on. Now switching over a couple hours later to my mobile device, I'm on the road and I see that I've received an email. Now I'm going to actually open that email, and it happens to be from Justin Gurney. So what we see here is that he's actually pleased that he's received the presentation, they're excited about the capabilities, and they'd like me to create a proposal. Now, of course, I could go back to my desktop or my laptop and do that, but I have the capabilities to do this right here on my iPhone as we speak. So what I can actually do is, within the context of that email, I can open Dynamics 365, which brings in all of that opportunity information, and I can actually see that as Justin had CC'd people on there, there's additional context that I might be able to add to this particular opportunity and actually expand my network as well. So I generate this proposal, we send it to Stephen, and the MBA is now happily a customer of Dynamics 365. And with that being said, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. And so, there's a theme that's going to continue to recur across the rest of this presentation, and that theme is data. Data as the foundation for what just happened. If you look at this data graph, we were able to pull information from Adobe, from LinkedIn, from Office, from Dynamics, bring it together, and create a collection of integrated experiences that empower the salesperson, the marketeer, to engage a customer in a fundamentally new way. It's not, I'm keeping track of what I've done, it's what should I do next? Who can help me do that? Where should I focus my attention? Meeting me where I am, on the road, in my phone, with the next best action to take. And so, transformative approach to the customer engagement process. Once you have a customer, frequently you need to keep them happy. There are issues that come up. And so let's take a look now at our intelligent customer service scenario. Now here again, traditionally the approach has been customer finally can't solve their problem to the point that they call you and you've got to deal with them. And how do you have enough people to deal with that? What's the capacity planning model for support? We're moving with intelligent applications from that very reactive model to an incredibly proactive model, where I can predict before a customer is dissatisfied that they're going to be dissatisfied based on, for example, telemetry coming back from products. I can head them off before it becomes a problem, which is good for me because it reduces my load, but it's certainly good for the customer because you get proactive and they feel like they're being taken care of. And so to look deeply at our intelligent customer service scenario, Ryan's going to take us through another scenario.
Thanks, James. So what we're actually looking at here is the Azure Bot Framework working with Dynamics 365 in the contact center of an insurance company. And one of the most unique things here, I believe, is the fact that enabling the bot provides you 24/7 scale in all the languages you want. From a contact center point of view, I think that offers endless possibilities. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be playing, sorry, I didn't mention that. I'm going to be playing 3 different personas within this demo. The first is of the consumer who's browsing the website that we're looking at. At a particular point, in a proactive manner, we're going to look at the sentiment of the conversation and transition to a human agent who's pulled into the conversation to drive it forward. And lastly, I'll be a business analyst looking at the wealth of information we've collected and seeing how we can adapt the processes in our organization. So let's actually get started. Now, as I mentioned, right now I am the consumer. So I'm browsing the website. I see here at the bottom this feature of live chat. So I'm kind of interested and intrigued by that. I'm looking to get automotive insurance. So I start to, engage with some very simple Q&A here in the sense of what are you actually able to do? And it's a bot. It's able to respond to me 24/7. If I wanted, I could speak multi-language here and change the language of the conversation. So I'm actually going to say, where is your company based? Very quick Q&A. But let's get more serious here. As I mentioned, I need insurance. So that's what I'm going to actually explain to the bot here. Now, as I do this, the bot actually goes into Dynamics 365 and pulls up the product catalog in a very user-friendly way for me to understand. I can see here that we have automotive insurance, property insurance, and life insurance. So I'm going to drive the conversation forward with automotive insurance. So it can help me get a new policy, but at this moment, I've been an anonymous user. It does not yet know who I am. So here we're going to try some authentication. So as we say, are you an existing customer? I actually am. And what it's going to ask me for is, okay, what's your full name? Who are you? And there's several different ways we could do this, but in this case, I'm using a personal identification number to break through the authentication that we were talking about. So as I enter that particular number, it's now going into Dynamics 365 and pulling up my customer profile. And what it's actually able to already do is see that it can get me a 10% multi-policy discount because it recognizes an upsell opportunity of my daughter who is 17 years old that they want to associate with there. So again, the bot has done this through AI. Nobody is actually involved in that process. So I do want to include my daughter within this, and we start to drive the conversation even further forward. In this case, it's going to start to categorize what type of insurance it's offering for what type of car. So I'm currently just bought a sedan, which is what I'm actually looking to drive, and it's going to start to ask, okay, what is the make of your car? It happens to be a Ford, and it's going to say, okay, one level deeper, what was the model? And the last question will actually be, what year was that produced in? So that was produced in 2015. And now what it's going to do is actually say, okay, do you have a picture of the car? So what the bot is actually going to able to do using cognitive services is analyze the details of the car. Now there's 2 things in life I really like to take pictures of. It's my cars and it's my family. So as I start to say, yes, I do have a picture of the car, the bot's going to explain, okay, use the image to upload that picture, and I'm being kind of careless and quick here, and imagine I have millions of pictures, and I accidentally hit this Maggie and Marley picture that we have right here, which happens to be my newborn baby and my dog. So they got their first cameo in a demo. I'm very happy about that. So one of the very nice things, and you can see this here, is like, what are you doing? This isn't a car. It looks more like a baby sleeping next to a dog. And that is real. It's AI that's actually analyzing that picture and providing that back. So let's get a little serious again. I actually choose the car that we have, and then it's going to, in a very human way, analyze that car and actually give me a compliment as, hey, this looks like a nice purchase. And then in the background, it's going to generate the quotation based on all of those details that I provided to it, which is fantastic. There's only one bad thing, which is the details are going to be way too expensive for me to actually appreciate. And this is where the proactive sentiment analysis kicks in. So I'm actually going to give a very negative response here. No way, that's too expensive. And as we do that, you'll see that the bot first responds in an intelligent way, recognizing my sentiment, and then automatically pulls Jane into this conversation, the human agent, to take over it so that we can see how we can satisfy the customer. So at this moment, I'm actually going to leave the website that we're looking at and jump into the view that Jane, the contact center representative, would be seeing. And what's unique here is, again, we're with an opportunity, as we saw the first demonstration. We're looking at a business process that the bot has done. They've qualified, they developed, and they were in the stage of proposing right now. But what we see here is, of course, the transcript and the nice pictures that we just uploaded, but we see best next actions on how to save this deal. Based on all the data that we have, there's a 65% churn risk that I have right now as that customer we were talking to. But also, based on all the data we have, if we apply a 15% discount to this quotation, I'm very likely to stay on as a particular customer. So we're empowering that agent with the right data to make the right step. And jumping into that quotation, of course, Jane does not have to start adding line items to an opportunity. The bot has already done all of that. It's a matter of using the AI model and applying that to the information. So, leaving the role of Jane and moving on to that last area, which was the business analyst who can look at the overall picture and see how we're performing in the world, I'm actually going to jump into Power BI, which is a rich visualization engine that we have running behind what you just actually saw happen. So what we can see here, for example, are all kinds of things about the active customer churn, even how key topics versus website themes intertwine with each other, and ideas of how we could adapt. Now, to me, however, one thing when looking at the map stands out. Something's going on in Australia, and we really want to find out what is going on in Australia. So I'm actually going to drill into that particular map, and I'm going to say, okay, we have all of this particular set. Let's filter what we're looking at to Australia. And one of the keywords that stands out is in those conversations, the word expensive has occurred the last 135 times in the date range that I'm looking at. And actually, our competitor, Contoso Insurance, has occurred 145 times. So I need to analyze, are we actually being competitive in this market? Are we offering the right prices to go along with what's being done? So we have the necessary conversations, obviously make those changes, and we're doing well in Australia there. So with that being said, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. So once again, data is sort of at the core of the scenario, but the thing I think that's most striking is it's not just the data, it was the intelligence. It's fascinating. That was real. The actual sort of analysis of the photo and determining who's in the photo or what was in the photo, that's not a demo. That was a real cognitive service reaction. And so being able to train these models based on vast amounts of data really does sort of bring these systems to life. And with our partners and with all of our first-party systems, we've got massive, massive amounts of data behind Bing, behind LinkedIn, behind Adobe, that we can bring to bear to train up these models and to create truly intelligent systems. And so in this case, again, pulling data from Office, from Dynamics, from various systems, bringing that together, creating an intelligent sort of analysis, if you will, of all of that information, and then guiding the customer or guiding the support rep or guiding the analyst to the next best decision, action, or avoiding the need for any of that. And so let's go to our third scenario now. This is a cool one. So sometimes if you sell someone a product, or if you've got someone that is running a manufacturing operation using some equipment, if you've got an elevator, right? The need to go on site, to actually go out and deal with the problem is a requirement for many, many businesses that have field service operations. And again, if you think about the way it has always been, it was about scheduling, who are the people that I have, do I have the right books, service manuals in my vehicle in order to go run out and do this repair work. We're moving now into a world where, again, sort of the reactive, proactive, where we can detect an impending problem. And we saw that earlier, and we'll see it again here in a minute. And this is, I've spent a lot of time on this particular topic because I just find it fascinating. But there are, it's amazing the sensors that you can place on machinery that can detect vibration patterns and have learned, based on the vibrations, when things are going wrong, kind of what the problem is based on, it's amazing. And so taking that data and using it with these machine learning models to predict and get in front of problems before they actually become problems is part of this scenario as well. And so Heather is going to take us through proactive field service.
Thanks, James. So ensuring we have the right resources at the right place at the right time is something that's a large cost to field service organizations. That's why with Dynamics 365 is partnering with PTC to help empower those organizations to empower their field service teams and also to help them evolve their business models from traditional break-fix repair to a never-fail service model. Dynamics 365, in conjunction with the Azure IoT Suite and HoloLens, will help enable these organizations to transform successfully. The Microsoft solution will significantly reduce your customers' downtime, will help increase customer satisfaction, and will also help revolutionize the technician experience. Let's dive in and take a look. I'm currently going to play the role of a dispatcher at the service center. What we're looking at here are all of my IoT alerts, all of the anomalies that are being detected from the connected devices that are at our customer sites. I'm able to quickly see here what the level of severity is associated with those assets. Let's drill in to the asset that has the highest level of severity. As I do that, I'm presented with a dashboard that's showing me all the crucial data that I need to see related to this specific asset that's at my customer site. Using machine learning, as James had mentioned, I'm able to see that there's a predicted failure coming up for this particular asset. And with the Microsoft Intelligence solution, it's already created a work order for me in order to get someone to work on this repair. Let's drill into the work order and see what we have in front of us. From this work order, I'm presented with even more rich information, such as customer history information. I can see the bill of materials associated with this piece of equipment, all the parts. So I have a lot of information that's being presented to me to help me make really great decisions for my customer and for my organization. I'd like to point out here, you can see that there is a prediction, again, based on machine learning, that there's an 80% chance of failure in the next 100 days for this motor. As I'm looking at this, I know I need to hurry up and immediately take care of this motor in order to avoid any downtime for my customer. Now, with this whole solution, I potentially, if it would be at all possible, try to resolve this issue remotely. And that's a great thing because I can do that quickly and more efficiently, even without customer involvement, and it's a lot less costly than me having to dispatch a technician on site. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make the decision that a technician really needs to go out and make this repair. Now, one of the challenges we have as a very large global field service organization is that we have a large team, they're dispersed globally, and they all have differing skill sets. But that's not a problem. With Dynamics 365 for field service, the system is helping me ensure that we are deploying the right resource to the right place at the right time. This, in turn, is making sure that we're increasing customer satisfaction, customer uptime, and also, most importantly, increasing our first-time fix rate for our customers. How is that happening? Well, the Microsoft solution is intelligently matching the work requirements for the repair to the actual skills that the technician has. Not only that, but it's taking into account constraints, such as the technician availability, the geography, customer preferences, the SLA. What parts and inventory does that technician have in their truck in order to be able to make this a first-time repair? Super important. Now that we were able to successfully dispatch our technician, I'm going to switch and play the role of that technician. Now, as a technician, I have lots of devices with me, but the quickest and simplest device really here is my phone. Now, I don't have to worry about showing up at the customer location and not having any connectivity at all to the internet or to my LTE coverage, because everything that I'm about to show you here, I'm still going to have the capability to get access to all of this information, even if I'm 100% disconnected from any network. In this case, I've already been alerted to the next repair job that I need to travel to. So I can drill in and get the details of that work order before I go into my customer's site. So I'm going to go in and take a look at this work order that has been assigned to me. And you'll notice I have a lot of really rich information to help get me up to date before I walk into my customer. Some instructions, I can drill in and get more information on the asset itself, get driving directions if I want. If I scroll down here a bit further, you'll notice I can do some things such as record parts that I may consume in order to repair this motor. Again, making it super simple for me as a technician instead of waiting at the end of the day to fill out a lot of paperwork, maybe at the hotel or back at the office. I can do this immediately as soon as I finish the repair or even while I'm on site with the customer. Better yet, I can now even have the customer go ahead and record that the work order has been completed and the repair has been done just by getting a signature right here on my phone. Super important, making the interaction with my customer frictionless. Now, the thing is that I'm going to go in to repair this motor, and as I'm getting a closer look at this motor, I'm realizing that it's an older model than what I've been repairing recently. And because of that, I'm feeling as a technician that it would be great if I could get a little bit of a refresher course as to how to make this repair. And in the past, what that would mean is I'd have to go back out to the truck, find the manual, go through all the mountains of material, read up on it, or maybe I'd even have to go back to the office, or even worse yet, maybe they'd have to dispatch another technician to do this repair. All of those activities cost my organization valuable time and money, and that means it also costs the customer valuable time and money. But what we're going to show here is how I can revolutionize the technician experience, how leveraging the HoloLens, I'm going to be able to introduce mixed reality, which is the blending of the physical and the digital world, and how that can help me be more efficient as a technician. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put on this HoloLens headset so we can see that mixed reality experience. And I do want to point out here that there is a HoloLens here, and mounted on top of it is a camera, so that you all in the audience can experience what I'm seeing as I put on my headset. So now that I have on my headset, I'm going to turn on the motor. And I'm turning on the motor because I just want to go ahead and take a look now that I've gotten on site. Quick thing that I really want to point out here that's pretty incredible is that here you'll notice the rich experience that I'm getting as a technician. And I'm getting this experience thanks to what it was built on the ThingWorx Studio platform. Now, what we're looking at here is the layering of the digital context, which you'll notice those round circles, is the layering of the digital context, really what's coming in from IoT, over the physical real-world motor that we have in front of us. We're really seeing real-time data being come in from the IoT sensors. And again, it's helping me make decisions on how to approach this repair. Since I still need to make the repair, I'm going to go ahead and turn the motor off. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm still feeling a little apprehensive about where and how I should approach this repair. But no matter, because with the incorporation of mixed reality, I'm able to work through this pretty quickly and efficiently. And let me show you how. I can go ahead and interact simply here in my mixed reality world. And you'll notice that I'm immediately even having the ability to order a spare part if I determine one that's needed. Again, I didn't have to stop my repair, go get a piece of paper, pick up my phone, literally just here in my mixed reality, able to do these things interactively and efficiently. Moving on though, you'll notice that I can go ahead and keep interacting, and what's happening now is I'm getting product lifecycle management information coming in from the ThingWorx platform. And you'll notice it's giving me a 3D animation. It's really giving me the step-by-step guide. You'll see here it's showing me how to disassemble and then reassemble the motor, which is pretty incredible. 3D animation, at least for me as a technician, is a heck of a lot more valuable than a manual that's not 3D. So this is great, and I can continue to play and replay this animation till I feel comfortable with making the repair. In addition, if I really wanted to, I could even use Skype to pull in another technician and bring them into the experience and help me out. But better yet, because of all of the richness of this experience, I was able to repair the motor quickly and efficiently, and I can now pull up my mobile app and get the customer to sign off on the completed repair. So as you can see, with Dynamics 365, the Azure IoT Suite, and HoloLens, I was able to make this repair in half the time that I was able to do it in the past. And not only that, but I was able to do it even before the customer had any downtime, before the customer knew that there was any potential for any problems, ultimately resulting in saving them millions of dollars. Thank you.
It's ridiculous. I am living in the future. I mean, it's like a Jetsons episode. And you know, again, it's data at the center of this experience. And you know, two things to call out, I think. Number one, the mixed reality, you know, the ability to bring that data to the environment, I think is incredibly powerful. You know, you think about it, that motor, just about everything at this point has sensors, it's emitting data constantly, and the ability for us to capture that data up in the Microsoft cloud, to process it, and then to bring it back down to reality, to present it overlaid on the physical reality is game-changing for all kinds of scenarios. The one that we just witnessed sort of being a fantastic example. And so taking this data, once again, from various sources, including the equipment itself, bringing it together, layering intelligence on top of that, understanding where the issues are, empowering the person that lands on site to go fix it, game-changing capabilities that are available through Dynamics 365. So let's move to our last scenario, and this one's, I'm a nerd, so I grew up writing software. I'm a programmer at heart, and so this is my favorite scenario. And that is sort of the business process that's unique to you. There's not always an app for that, right? And so this example is a customer that I met about 1.5 years ago. And the story here is the one that really got me excited about Power Apps, which we're going to demo in a minute. But just very quickly, so this IPS, this is their business. They repair electric motors and generators, big ones. You know, turbine motors or generators out of wind farms and generators out of marine applications. They've been around since 1903 in one form or another. They've changed hands many times over the years. They've been part of a larger organization in the past. They've been spun out and are independent right now. But their business is, you know, sort of a motor arrives on the loading dock. They bring it into the organization or into the facility. They inspect it. They take it apart. They use calculators to calculate tolerances. They actually had digital cameras that they would use to take photos as they go through the process. It was error prone. It was disconnected. They would collect a lot of information, and eventually they would produce a report that went back with that motor once it was repaired. Now, they have one of just about everything from a business application perspective. They've got ERP, they have CRM. In fact, they're using Dynamics for CRM. So they could track their inventory, they could do shipping and receiving, they could invoice, they could do all the stuff you traditionally do with business applications. But their core business process, repairing motors, is not something they had an application for. This is photographs from their shop. Paper process, sticky notes, whiteboards, tracking things with digital cameras, and it was extremely disconnected and very inefficient. Now, perhaps the worst thing is not the inefficiency of the business process, but the fact that when this job is done, those sticky notes hit the trash can. That's data. Data that could have been collected in a digital system that allows you to get value in order to improve your processes. And so they discovered Power Apps. And Power Apps is a low-code, no-code, very efficient application development service. It allows you to create what we call a Power App that can run on a mobile device, it can run on the web, but it doesn't require you to be a programmer. Now, IPS didn't have programmers, and so they had never felt comfortable, been willing to take the risk, understood how to go build a mobile app to go run their business process, but they've now done that. And this is true. If you go to their website, you will find that picture on their website. They are so proud of the fact that they have an automated repair process now that they advertise it as a competitive advantage. We didn't ask them to do that. I actually accidentally discovered it when I was going through their website trying to learn more about their business. It's just amazing. And so now when that motor comes in, they know it's going to arrive because this Power App is connected with their ERP system. They know it's on the loading dock. They know what it is. It takes them through the process. They take the photos with that tablet now. It does all the calculations. It automatically produces the PDF report. It updates all the inventory information. All of this happens in a digital fashion now, and the data's not lost. All of that information is captured. So very, very powerful. I would argue that the apps that you can buy from us or from our partners are perhaps the least interesting apps. I think they're valuable, of course, and there's a lot of value. I don't mean to say that Dynamics 365 isn't valuable, but the most valuable applications are the ones that you can't buy. And so being able to produce these in a way that was never before possible, I think is super powerful. And to look at an example from G&J Pepsi, one of our customers, how they were able to use Power Apps to transform one of their processes, Richard will take us through the scenario.
Thanks, James. So hello, everyone. I'm going to spend the next few minutes giving you a quick tour of the Power Apps platform. As James said, it's our low-code, no-code app platform. The app I'm going to show you is based on an app that a company called G&J Pepsi built to essentially simplify their store merchandising process. They have a bunch of people that go out to stores. They have to do restock. They have to check on the display, and they order a bunch of stuff. It was paper-based before, so they built a Power App to digitize that experience. Now, you should note as I go through this, the app that G&J Pepsi actually built was built by a business analyst. So it wasn't built by a pro dev. In fact, I don't think they have any pro devs on staff. So it was a business analyst. They understood the data, they understood the process, and they could leverage Power Apps to go build a solution for the problem. So let's dive into Power Apps, and I'll give you a quick tour of the experience, of the creator experience. So you can see it looks fairly familiar to anyone that's used Office in the past. It kind of looks like PowerPoint. You've got the screens of the app on the left-hand side. You've got the ribbon along the top where you can add controls and configure things. And then you've got your property configuration page on the right-hand side. So it's an easy entry, and that's no accident. Like, we want to make this easy for anybody that kind of knows Access, anybody that knows Excel, to kind of dig in and create apps. It's definitely targeted to your power user audience. So we're going to build an app for those merchandisers. You can see we've got 3 screens on the left-hand side. There's a store screen, a map screen, and an inspection screen. And I'm going to go fill those out through the next few minutes. The store screen is going to essentially become a list of the stores that G&J Pepsi do business with. The map screen is going to be a screen that is a planogram of the store that will show each of the store's layouts plus some labels on top of there so that the merchandisers know where to go. And then the inspection screen is a screen that they can use to log issues, to log status, and even order more product right from the store. Like I said, previously this was a paper-based thing. They'd go out, they'd fill a form in, and they'd fax it back to head office to fax the results back. So every app needs data, and we're going to start on the store screen and add some data to it. As James said, we've got the common data substrate sitting underneath all of the Dynamics apps. And we're going to use that because that's where G&J store all of their store information. So we're going to go and add that data into our app. And it's as simple as clicking and choosing the store entity. This is an entity that exists in the common data substrate. Let's click that. You'll see on the left-hand side in a second the screen populate with the apps. Power Apps has chosen a gallery control for us. You can see we can go edit that if we don't like how it looks. There's a bunch of different options here, all point and click. No code to write, dead simple. So we've got the beginnings of our app. Now if I hit play up here, you see we've actually got the app running as I'm building it. So this experience is I build and I run. I'm running as I'm building, which means I can experience the app as I go along. Now it doesn't do much right now. If I click on that, you can see we haven't built the planogram page out yet, so we'll go back and do that right now. So let's drop into the map screen. And this is kind of where the magic starts, because we've just added one data source, but Power Apps can leverage any number of data sources. We ship with over 160 connectors out of the box. And the one I'm going to use here is SharePoint. So in SharePoint, G&J store all of the maps, all the planograms of the stores that they do business with. SharePoint's a great place to put it. It means it's super easy for anyone to go and update this data if things change or if they start doing business with a new store. They've also got a store map areas list in SharePoint. And this is the location of all of those assets, the products that the merchandisers need to go look at. So you can see things like salty snacks, Impulse, MCAPs, basically all the stuff that I'm sure when you talk to Dr. Oz later will tell you not to go eat. So let's go back into Power Apps and let's add that data source in. So we'll go data sources, let's add a data source, and we will say new connection. And again, you can see this is the list. Literally everything from Twitter all the way down to SQL Server and SharePoint are pre-configured or pre-shipped connectors that you can go use. We're going to use SharePoint. I am going to go connect directly to my cloud SharePoint site. I'm going to grab the URL there so that it knows where to go. And we're going to paste that in to here. That should hopefully return the lists. And we want the store maps. And we're going to hit connect. And as if by magic, in a second, you're going to see the store maps appear on the screen. So now we're actually starting to build a real app. Like we have a, let's go play this. We have a list of the stores. We can click through the stores, and we have the layouts of each store appearing on our app. Now, if this was running on your iPhone, you've already got a reasonably useful app on your phone. But let's go and take it a step further and add the labels there that are going to show us where each of those tasty snacks are. And you can see I've done a bit of pre-work here just to save you watching me type, but that literally was 3 lines of expression language, which you can see at the top here, just to filter the list and to use X and Y coordinates to land those labels directly onto the map. So now we've got an app that's even more useful. But wait, there is more. Let's go to the inspection screen, and we're going to hook the inspection screen up to, again, the common data substrate and use data in there to drive it. So let's go and say we're going to insert a form, an edit form. That will land that on my canvas for me, and you can see I've got pixel control over where this thing goes. I'm going to say, you know what, I want the data source to be the inspection entity that we've built. And because Power Apps understands the types of data types in CDS, it will automatically pre-create a form for me based on those data types. So if it's a text field, you're going to get a text control, and so on. Now, there are a few things I can do here. The first thing is I don't need the name field, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I want to move the area rating up to above the notes so that it's fairly clear for them. And then I also want to change the area rating from a number to a star. That seems to make more sense to me. So I've got already starting to build a fairly rich form here that our store merchandisers can go use to log the status of the assets that they're looking at in the store. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here is, you see we've got a space for an image up here. Now, because Power Apps runs across mobile devices, we can actually leverage the capabilities of mobile devices directly in the apps, which is pretty cool. So, for example, every phone that's shipped today, pretty much every phone, has a camera on it. So it'd be pretty cool if we could leverage that camera in our app. And guess what? We have a camera control. We can drop that directly onto our canvas, and we can stretch it across to make it look good. And all of a sudden, we're building a super rich app. So that's running a live picture there of all you sitting in the audience. So our store merchandisers can go check the status of the products that they're looking at in the store. They can take a picture. They can click a few buttons, and all of that data gets sent straight back to head office in a matter of minutes instead of a matter of hours or even days sometimes. So let me just run you through that from beginning to end. We've just built in the last 5 minutes an app. It's connecting to CDS to show a list of stores. We can then mash that CDS data up with SharePoint to create a very rich UI for our merchandisers to look at, which will show us the planograms of the stores, plus where they need to go within the stores. And then if we click through one of those, you'll see they've now got an inspection screen that they can go use to do their jobs in the stores, which I actually think is pretty cool, considering that just got built in like 2 or 3 minutes. So that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of insight into kind of the art of the possible. And I'll hand back to James.
Thank you very much. So I'm between you and lunch, and we just did lots of cool stuff. So I just want to wrap it up quickly. Modern, unified, intelligent, adaptive, sort of the core properties that make Dynamics what it is. It's the fastest path to digital transformation. If you can find an app that helps you digitally transform, use it. And Dynamics 365, we believe, is the best starting point regardless of where you are on your journey for digital transformation. So thank you very much.